Hey everybody, today we have Dead Stop game. Bring your opponent to a screeching halt by using your deductive powers. I was asked by one of my subscribers what my plans were for getting a new career or job or whatever. Well, it's not at a dead stop. What I'm doing is putting applications in. And I'm going to let them call me. And, heck, there's the rules to the game. I'm putting applications in, and I gotta wait on people, slow corporations that are super slow, to do that one simple thing that they could do that would be fast, and that would be call people. And I'm going to have to go through the same rigmarole again. Go to lots of job interviews. Unfortunately, that's the part I hate. Dislike. Really don't like. Seems to me like a big, huge waste of time going to job interviews. Corporations need to hire people. They don't need to be interviewing people. But anyway, I have literally all that experience, so don't understand why they require interviews. Something I have yet to figure out. So here's the Dead Stop game. Looks like you have those cards. You have these tokens. Each side has their own game tokens. Looks like this is another one of those racist games where they've been trying to get us to have race wars since forever because, look, black and white. So, you got all these rings. I wonder if any of them are the precious. Anyway, so what I'm doing for the job, careers or whatever, is finding places that are hiring, putting in applications, and not settling. I'm not going to go down. I was an assistant store manager. Why in the heck would I go down from being an assistant store manager to something lower than an assistant store manager? The only way or reason that would make sense to going down is if they paid better than I was getting paid. So I'm only going to accept a job that either A, pays me more, B, gives me more hours, and C, promotes me up a higher rank. That's literally the only thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to stop looking for something that will give me what I want. I know that corporations can afford it, and I've made my case, and they just don't understand that yet. I have a few other options that I may look into, like career changing, because apparently retail and corporation system is not working. Not for me anyway, because I keep having the same problem. And it's because of corporate bullshit. To be honestly, they're the ones that need to stop and dead stop with their corporate bullshit. Yeah. I don't have a problem with capitalism. What I have is a problem with is corporate corporations. I know communism doesn't work. I know capitalism is the best system. But I don't think capitalism was supposed to be controlled by corporations. I think capitalism was supposed to be controlled by citizens and consumers and the individuals. That's why I'm more of an entrepreneurial guy. Problem is, I don't have the money to start my own company. And if I did have the money to start my own company, it would be a sole proprietorship, and I really, since would not have that many employees. Because I don't really need that many employees, to be honest. I can pretty much do it all myself, so why would I need other employees? If I did have them, that just costs me more money. I have to raise my prices to pay for employees because I actually want to be fair and treat my employees correctly, which I wouldn't be able to do, and also keep the prices low. So the options for me running a business, which honestly, right now, I, I just don't see it possibly working, um, because we're in too much of a political upheaval, and we may or may not have a civil war after this election, regardless of who wins the nomination, and we may or may not have civil unrest again, depending, regardless of who wins. And that nature. Also, just they're giving everything to illegals instead of citizens. We have all these abandoned properties and abandoned locations that there's a rule on the books called eminent domain. The government could confiscate all these abandoned properties and give them to citizens. What do they do instead? They give loans and they give grants and whatnot to people who come over here. Now they're giving them to people who come over here both legally and illegally, when they should be giving those grants and loans to American citizens that were naturally born here. I don't care what their skin color is. Just give us Americans money. Stop giving it to foreign countries and give them to domestic individuals who want to start businesses and want to start companies and confiscate these abandoned properties and give the abandoned properties to the citizens. We wouldn't have a homeless epidemic if we would if we would confiscate the homes that aren't being used and house, I don't know, the people in them. I've done a video explaining how that system could work. I might do more vlogs about some more systems or ideas that I have later. Again, we have abandoned locations, and we have all these locations that the leases and rents are way too high for anybody to even try to start up a business. And that's why the locations are abandoned and just not having anything there. You have to be rich to start a business. And to be rich, you have to earn the money. And to earn the money, you have to work your whole freaking life away until you retire before you can have the money. And by that time, you now retire and you're old and you don't really have the ability. If you're not born into it, It's not. It's like the second or third generation has to be able to do it because the first generation is the one that earns it all, and if the second generation doesn't add to it so that the third generation can actually do it, then it just ain't gonna happen. And that's why corporations, you have to work for them, but then when you work for them, if you get tied down by family or wife, kids, or some other reason, you can't save up the money because you have to pay all these different bills and whatnot. So even if you try to save up the money, you don't earn enough, and then you're stuck in a dead end job, and that's why you're in debt the rest of your freaking life. So again, how are you supposed to start a corporation, company, your own business when you have bills? The whole system is fixed against the little guy and fixing them where they would be stuck working for a tyrannical corporation instead of multiple small businesses existing. The tyrannical corporations have knocked all the mom and pop small businesses out of business. And the government is in cahoots with the corporations. It doesn't matter whether the corporation's woke or not woke. They all don't want to play by the right rules. They all only care about the rich, powerful elite themselves. All of them. Because if they really, truly cared about employees, their customers, and their employees, and their consumers, they'd have low prices. Right? But they would also have full-time employment for all their employees. And they would give them as many hours as they wanted. And they would have employee loyalty. And they would do all these other things that are right for them. But they don't. So why? Because the bottom line is get the rich people up into CEOs and CFOs and COOs and chairmen of the boards and the board of directors and everybody else at the top, make them more money. That's the bottom line. Instead of helping the people at the bottom. If they'd help the people at the bottom make more money, it would help them make more money. That's how I feel about things. Anyway, I don't believe in that trickle down effect. I believe in a trickle up effect. Trickle up. When you help the people at the bottom, it helps the people at the top. Not when you hurt the people. When you hurt the people at the bottom, it hurts the people at the top. They haven't realized and figured that out yet. The more you help the bottom, the more the top gets better. Because the more people are at the top, the better everybody all around is. The more we allow people more freedom, and the best way to have freedom nowadays is to have financial freedom and not to be beholden to anyone, which means you're not stuck in a dead-end job, which means you have options to pick and choose what kind of places you want to work, whether it's for someone because it's a job that you actually enjoy and love, or start your own business. But people don't have that when they have bills. You can't have financial freedom when you have bills. You can't have, and if you have bills, then you get stuck in a rut and a dead end job. That is why most Americans, they say most Americans don't have enough money to last a month if they lost their job. And that is why most Americans don't want to lose their jobs. You have all these people, and this is also part of the reason why no one can get pushed up in rank in management and stuff, because the managers that are already there don't want to lose their jobs, even though they do a piss poor job at it, in my opinion. I've not met very many management that actually does a good job at being management. But the corporations keep them around instead of getting rid of them and trying for the new blood. I don't understand why they do that. Try new blood. Try the new guy. Try him. Give him a year shot. If he don't work out, then get rid of him. It's not a complicated idea here. Try something new that at least gives him experience. Allow people who think outside the box. You claim you want people to think outside the box, but apparently you don't actually want people to think outside the box, because when people actually think outside the box, they think so far outside the box that they challenge your old ways of doing things that aren't working anymore to a degree that it challenges you and absorbs your authority, because you now would have to go, if we tried your way, I'd have to admit that my way is not working and that I'm wrong. They don't want to admit that they're wrong. So they don't do so they don't do it. And y'all didn't really, I don't think y'all really care if I rant or rave about stuff. Y'all just want to see videos about the games or whatever. And I've gone way longer, like 10 extra minutes now here, plus probably just ranting and raving. And I need to just dead stop it and go, God is good all the time. All the time God is good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Jesus loves Jesus God, Jesus Lord, Jesus King. Jesus is ruler of everything. And that's basically my life update / rant about these tyrannical system that we are in America. We got too much craziness going on that it's just messed up everywhere. And nobody seems to understand it. It's like neither party sees that the problem is the rich and powerful, because both parties are working for the rich and powerful. It's like, they don't grasp it. They're not grasping that the evil are the rich and powerful elite. And that they need to help the little guys. They keep us divided by stupid shit. Like, oh my gosh, sexuality, sex, gender, sexuality. They keep us divided by other stupid stuff, like crime and race and religion and different freaking things. They keep us all divided and fighting each other over. They do. The rich, powerful elite, keep us divided. And they keep us locked down. They keep us locked down in debt slavery with consumerism. Capitalism it's the best system. It's just being implemented by the wrong people who are in charge of it. That's the problem. It's being implemented and used to create debt, to create and allow debt, and to create and allow inflation, and to create and allow the rich, elite, powerfuls to get richer and control the small, little guys. They don't just control the little guys. They control the middle class guys. They don't control them too. They even use it to control management. Even upper management, you would think, would have some power. They don't. Regional management doesn't have any power. District management doesn't have power. Store management doesn't have any power. Assistant management, again, no power, because all the corporations run exactly the same, and all keep the same people in power. And the politicians help keep those same people in power. Because those same politicians are also members of the elite, rich and powerful. And the parties are divided over some of the silliest stuff. Like taxes. Who should pay more? Who should pay less? Tax code should have been fixed a long time ago. It should have been simplified so long time ago. I have a video, my tax plan. It's so simple. Sexuality, gender, race, all these other ideologies. Again, it's not really that big a deal. Honestly, we just try to make it a big deal. Capitalism versus communism. Both elements have good parts that need to be implemented together, not fighting. See, if you would implement all these different ideologies together instead of fighting each other, we could get stuff done, accomplished. But we have a mentality now in America where everybody fights over ideologies. They fight over religions. They fight over who is right and who is wrong instead of figuring out what parts of both of y'all are right and what parts of both of y'all are wrong and throwing the wrong in the trash and keeping the right. You have Democrats that tell you that Republicans are always wrong, and Republicans that tell you Democrats are always wrong. Well, Republicans and Democrats are both wrong about stuff, and they're both right about stuff. And a lot of the things people honestly just don't care. I mean, the majority of Americans don't care about certain things. We care about the important things, like the issues, like wealth creation, like money. And we, a majority of Americans, see that the rich are the only ones getting richer. And neither party's addressing stuff like that. Yeah, it's a good soundbite to say tax the rich. But how is taxing the rich going to help the poor? It isn't. Unless you take that money and give it directly to the poor, but how does that help the poor? When you're given free money for no reason whatsoever, it doesn't help poor people stop being poor. It actually makes poor people decide, why should I get out of being poor when people keep giving me more freebies? You don't encourage people to stop being poor by giving them more money. It's like the fish analogy. A man's hungry, you give him a fish to eat. Well, you'll be hungry tomorrow. If you give him fish today, he'll be hungry tomorrow. And then you have to give him fish again tomorrow. Okay? But if I feed him fish today and teach him how to fish today too, and make him catch his own fish and we eat together, and then I take him fishing every day and we catch fish until he no longer needs my assistance at knowing how to fish anymore. And I teach him how to cook the fish. He can do it himself without me. Which strips away my power over him. But if I keep him where he has to keep coming to me for free fish, he's going to keep coming to me, which is only going to hurt me because I have to keep giving him more and more and more. But if I teach him how to fish, if I feed him fish today, and every day, but I go fishing, he's bumming off me. Now, if I invite him to fish with me, and I teach him how to cook that fish and how to fillet the fish and all that, there will come and then I teach him how to sell some of those fish so that he can actually buy his own fishing poles and fishing rods and reels and whatever and fishing nets and stuff. Then all of that. So if I train a person to be able to be self-sufficient on their own, and then I leave where they don't need me anymore, I relinquish my power. But now they're as powerful as me. While on the other side, I have all the power, and they have to come to me all the time, which is exploiting them and making them both a bum and, in a way, my slave, because I'm going to ask for certain favors from them. And the majority of a person who's bumming off of someone because they're hungry and need fish every day or whatever other food that you're providing is probably going to do whatever you tell them to do or ask them to do. So be wary of free gifts, because after a while you'll be beholden to the person who's giving those free gifts. Is it really, truly free? There is no free lunch. Remember that, friends. There is no free lunch. So the Republicans are right about training people how to be independent. Democrats are also right about the people being hungry and needing to be given help. Republicans are wrong on the fact that people can and should be able to pull themselves up from their bootstraps and be able to make it on their own. No, people cannot make it on their own. We're a collective society. People cannot, in nowadays, figure out a whole lot of stuff on their own. They have to be taught and trained. That's why we have schools. That's why we have educational systems. That's why we have training programs for all kinds of different things. People have to be taught. They have to learn. Democrats are wrong about the idea that, hey, you have it and you have too much of it, so why don't we take it from you and give it to this person who doesn't have it? Just because they don't have it. See? When you give people free stuff just because they don't have it, people no longer appreciate the items that are free. They don't enjoy them. They're not pleasurable. They didn't earn it. I don't really care for it anymore. They don't become, they're not grateful. They actually become the opposite. They become ungrateful for it and they waste it and use it in stupid, dumb ways. And it's just like the lottery. Most people who win the lottery are broke within 6 months to a year, regardless of how much money the lottery they win is. It's because they were just given a bunch of free money that they didn't earn, and they were not trained how to be financially responsible with it. They were not trained. They were not taught. They were just given a bunch of free stuff for no reason at all except for that they are poor and you're trying to create equality or equity, which doesn't work. Truly doesn't work. And it's a truly unfair situation. System. What would be fair is, well, everybody being able to be self-sufficient. And all this various different knowledge being taught to you, from financial knowledge to cooking knowledge to woodworking knowledge to all these various different knowledges that could be taught in schools but aren't. Home ec, auto mechanics, woodworking, shop, etc., etc., etc. And serious financial